Keeping parameters consistent in global shared projects is very time-consuming. Therefore, in this video, I want to show you how you can use the Outlier Detector to analyze and validate more than 100 calibration datasets in one view. Identical values are automatically grouped, displayed, and compared to previously created templates. This advanced comparison tool is for visualization only and does not change any data. On the Home tab in the Report group, select Outlier Detector from the Compare menu to open the Outlier Detector. If this is the first time you're using the Outlier Detector, or if you want to compare many revisions, select Multiple Revision Compare. If you want to detect outliers in the newest revisions, you first have to create a template file with specific values. Therefore, select Outlier Analysis. Make sure that attributes are assigned for all variants in order to automatically validate a label. Click Next to continue. Select the revision you want to compare from each selected variant. Then select one or multiple variants you want to analyze. To check all selected, right-click your project or revisions and select Check Selected from the shortcut menu. After the variant selection, you can click Next to compare the selected datasets. In the left grid, you can see the labels. Label information as matched attributes and value groups are automatically created. In this area, you can see the revisions. For a better overview, different revisions have different colors. Based on different values, the right grid displays value groups which are assigned to each revision of the label. The numbers 0 and 1 do not represent the value, but refer to the group. Identical values are grouped and displayed with identical colors. The color of each value depends on the color of the first different revision. If you have less value groups than revisions, some revisions have identical values. Beside the value group view, you can also display the actual values and dimensions. Therefore, select View Dimension of Value to display the actual dimensions and values of each revision of the labels. In this case, there are two actual values in the label A1, 0,0624 and 0,0401. Based on these actual values, value groups are assigned to each revision of the label. To each value group, a color is assigned. The color depends on the first occurrence of a new value. You can also filter for specific label names, matched attributes, or specific value groups, for example for value group equals 1. These labels have identical values in all revisions, so there is only one actual value. Therefore, all value groups have the same color white because the value do not differ from the master revision. If you filter for value group equals 2, the shown labels have two different actual values in the revisions. Therefore, two value groups are assigned to the revisions of each of the labels. The colors depend thereby on the first different revision. In this area, you can see detailed information of the labels. For a personalized view, you can also move the tabs to the desired location in the window. CRETA projects can have different attributes. These attributes can have different values across variants and revisions. The Attributes tab displays the attribute groups in combination with the revisions. For example, the emission target can be an attribute in a CRETA project and it can change across revisions. Some revisions can be targeted to Euro 6, while other revisions can be targeted to Euro 7, China or LEV. Another attribute can be the transmission system. Some revisions can be targeted at an automatic transmission, while other revisions can be targeted at a manual transmission system, for example. These attribute values can be treated equally as value groups, and attribute groups are created. Tree-specific and attribute information can be found in the Revisions tab. After analyzing your value groups, you can create a template. Therefore, set the corresponding label validation status from the drop-down menu in the validation column. To ensure consistency, the calibration manager can decide if the pattern is OK. Select OK if the pattern of the label is correct. Select Outlier if the pattern of the label is not correct and contains an outlier. Leave the status of the label as To Do if there are too many labels to validate them manually. We can see, for example, that the A1 label has two different groups. To confirm the values and keep this pattern, set the label to OK. Alternatively, you can right-click labels and select the corresponding label validation status from the context menu. To validate the labels easier, check the value and attribute groups. The attributes of the labels usually have the same pattern as its values. In this case, the attribute transmission system matches the pattern of values of specific labels, whereas the attribute emission target matches a different pattern of values of other labels. This additional information is displayed in the Matching Attributes column and should be used as an indicator to assign OK, outlier, or To Do to a label. If the expected pattern for a label is known, you can set the pattern manually by using the Edit Pattern option. Therefore, select the desired labels for the template. Right-click them and select Edit Pattern from the context menu. Now you can enter the new expected pattern of value groups for the labels. Click OK to save your current changes for the template. After the validation, you can save your template for future analysis by clicking Save Template. Select your desired path where you want to save your template file. The pattern with the expected values is saved to a CRETA outlier file, including every label with the validation status and value group information for all revisions. After the engineer have merged revisions, you can check the value groups in the newest revisions. The Outlier Detector can be used to ensure that the new datasets are correct. You can use the template created before to compare the values with the expected ones. Therefore, open the Outlier Detector again. Select Outlier Analysis and your previous created template file. Then select the latest revision to compare from each selected variant and the variants you want to analyze. Click Next to detect outliers. The detector automatically indicates where exactly outliers and inconsistencies are. Under the validation column, this is immediately defined as a new outlier. In the right grid, you can see the comparison from the previous and latest values. If there are outliers in the newest revision, they are marked with a red frame. In this case, something is wrong with the label A0 because CRETA recognized that there are two different value groups and therefore the dataset doesn't match with the expected one from your template. If only the values change whereas the value groups remain unchanged, the label is not considered as outlier. In this case, the value and value group changes from label A0 in the fourth revision. Therefore, the value is considered as outlier. You can then get more information and compare all values. Therefore, select the desired labels and select Compare All Values from the context menu to get an overview of all groups. A quick Excel report is also possible to export the comparison results and to analyze details. Therefore, select the desired labels and right-click them. Select Export to XLSX from the context menu. Select Export each label value individually to export not just the dimension, but also values of curves and maps. Click OK to generate an Excel report. The report is simplified by the fact that the different value groups are marked in color so the color coding is the same as in the outlier detector. For a better overview, the value groups are also linked with the appropriate values. To summarize, the outlier detector provides following basic overview. Identical values across multiple revisions are grouped. The color of the value group is based on the first revision with a new different label value, and identical attribute values are grouped similar to value groups. You can use the outlier analysis to create a new template file or to check the value groups in the newest revision. Identical values will be automatically grouped, displayed and compared with previously created templates. So you don't have to check every week manually the consistency of the values, but outliers are automatically detected. Therefore, the benefits of the outlier detector are increased consistency of datasets, and so regular quality controls are possible. There are less inconsistencies and a better efficiency of calibrations. Furthermore, a reduction of calibration variance is given. So the outlier detector quickly detects outliers and ensures consistent calibrations. It enables you to quickly identify outliers in your datasets by providing the possibility to compare, analyze, and define attribute groups. As a result, the correct parameters end up in the right vehicle, variant, and controller.